So Tina, your question was?
Oh, are we going to use that one document?
Yeah, I guess the idea was that we share this call, you and me, and you start it by checking in with people where they are at and starting with some question about intentions of being here and so on. You will explain more about that. And then I move into, we have all the people on the call, we will get into smaller groups and then we will share a document that we can all access and write on, hopefully, at the same time simultaneously. So all the small groups will be able to see what all the other small groups are writing at the same time. So we're all kind of on the same page. And just putting out ideas there for different things that we would like to do. In relation to conflict, in relation to tensions, in relation to being a human being, sharing space with other human beings. So that can be suggestions for different conflict resolution methods, or study groups in relation to something, or grief groups, or whatever it is that you're interested in. Like yeah, I will explain it more when we get into it. And then after that, we will check if anybody wants to do something practically. And then the last part, we're back to you, Tina, kind of rounding off the call, seeing what we got out of it, and expressing if there was something nice that somebody did that we liked. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mila. That's that is a good outline of what our intention is, what we're here to do. So I'm gonna go grab my coffee. I'll be right back. Bella, do you want watch your meatballs?
I'd like to add, if this isn't obvious already, that this is pretty laid back, so don't be afraid to do anything that's wrong. Ask questions if things are confusing, or make comments, or just speak.
Excuse me. I'm sharing this chair with you. Okay, can we share it? All right. So the invitation question we're looking at is, what do you need to let go of to be present in this call today? Or if you prefer answering, why was it important for you to be here on this call? And whoever, kind of popcorn, whoever wants to start.
Is it okay? I prefer getting into small groups and then share. We can even, since it's only 5 of us, we can even take 2 rounds in smaller groups, just to have more time to get to know one another and talk with one another.
Okay, that works. I will click on the breakout room thing and see what happens.
Can you, before you get us into groups, that if we have 8 minutes or so in the smaller groups?
I think 8 minutes is a good time.
Yeah. I don't know how the breakout rooms work, if you need to check the time and then, or if you can preset it.
Let me.
Shami,
I
you
don't think it. I don't think you can preset it. You can give like a 1 minute before, 30 seconds before it. There was a thing, so you can close breakout room. That's the option.
mm.
So the
So
message goes to them. That's
yeah.
what I remember.
So Tina, you need to have a look at the time and to
I can set it on
yeah.
my phone.
Yeah.
So it's only recognizing 4 participants. I guess I'm not part of it. Could that be what it's trying to tell me?
I have
No, you can
no.
also be part of it. You can join. You can join any breakout room that you want to join.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say into 2 rooms. I'm going to write a 2 there. If that works. And then it says automatically.
Yeah.
Before we get into the groups, can you repeat the question again, Tina? I'd just like to hear it.
So the question is, what do you need to let go of to be fully present on this call today?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Oh, wait. It says breakout room, James 1, James and Mila. Breakout room 2, Emily's phone and Shami.
And then you can join after you make the rooms.
Okay. Oh, there's an option. See, there's an option to add a room. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Who knew? Okay, here we go. Open all rooms.
Hi. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes.
So would you like to start? Do you have any preference?
I'm happy to start. Let's see. So 8:16, just to keep track. Okay, so what do you need to let go of to be fully present on this call today? Yeah, I mean, on a superficial or at a first level, I feel pretty present. Hi, Tina. I'm starting to answer the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My computer, every time these breakout room things happen, it goes away, and I have to go back and look up the. Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm answering the question. I was just saying that at an initial level, I feel grounded and present for the call. It's a familiar interface, but new people to be doing this with. And so then maybe at a deeper level, letting go of enemy images, I suppose. Enemy images, I use the term enemy image, but I mean that in to varying degrees. So just really just images of people, ideas of people, and yeah, things that I think that I know about people, or things that I expect from myself that may not be real, or that are not yet decided. So, I mean, I notice that I feel nervous, and then that nervousness, it's a kind of discomfort. So, what I'm thinking is maybe just letting go of a desire to sweep that nervousness under the rug. I don't want to let go of my feeling of nervousness, but I would rather like to make space for it here. So I'll just, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm not aware of my expectations for the call, but I'm sure that they're there under the surface as well. So it is like a preemptive letting go of my expectations for the call, but I'm not sure what they are. And that's it. I'll finish there.
Cool. Thanks, James.
You're muted, Mila.
Oh,
Mila,
fuck. Yes, I swore.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yes. I don't need. Yes, I can go next. That's what I said. And I don't need. I don't know. It's a new question for me. What do I need to let go of in order to be more present? So I don't know if I need to let go of it, but just kind of recognize it within myself that I have like sadness, some stress, but I don't feel like there's. I feel quite prepared for whatever is there to just kind of go through what we decided to do on the call and to see what comes next. And I'm fine with that. But maybe overall sadness that these things aren't already in place or happening or yeah, like a sadness around meaninglessness, like discomfort that doesn't have to be there. And yeah, I have a lot of sadness. That's definitely there. And then being impatient and stressed, I always like it when things are super smooth and flowy, and yeah, but kind of in acceptance of that too. Like, it's just nice. People are on the call, we're here. Letting go of the usual stress that I have. Your turn, Tina.
Yeah. Oh, where's my timer thing? Hang on. For me, yeah, it's just this. I mean, I woke up on the couch. I don't sleep well. I'm an insomniac, and so early morning is not my best time. And also, having spent a number of hours yesterday filling out a medical form online for too much information here, James, please don't write this, but I'm having a colonoscopy next Friday, and they make you fill out just, I mean, your life history on, you know, this computer thing. And I was just super frustrated by that. Yeah. And also just like, yeah, the sort of unknown, what will happen on this call, not knowing like who was going to show up, a little sadness that a few more people haven't shown up, but at the same time realizing I didn't sort of put a reminder on like MBCA and stuff like I was intending to. And so always have heard that the right people are in the room, the right people are here. And so that's wanting to trust that. Yeah. And also, yeah, a bit of a sense of who knows what will happen on the call. And maybe wanting to be not in control, but yeah, I'm usually okay with not knowing outcomes, so I don't know what's going on with me. But anyway, that's me more or less. I'm feeling more present just having said that. And we just have like 23 seconds. So, and also not knowing how this works. Like, it's been on other calls, I think, where it gives like you have 30 seconds left, but apparently this isn't going to do that. So in a few seconds, it's just going to put us back in the main room, I think. Here we go. There goes my alarm and nothing's happening. So here we go. All right, how do I turn this off? Okay, there. Yeah, so I don't know. This is all new.
You're muted.
Yes, I mute myself. I think when Shami did it, he himself could see that there was a countdown, like a minute going on.
Yeah,
so
I'm in the room, I can't see it maybe.
Okay, but have you done anything? Have you clicked anything? I'm just wondering if we're really kind of going to get out of the...
So I guess this is manually, I have to click close all rooms right now.
Yeah.
But see, there's got to be another way to do this.
It says close all rooms, and then probably the thing that Shami said that it will give you a minute to then leave the room.
Oh, I thought it would do it immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, all breakout rooms will close in a minute. See, who knew?
There. I think, yeah, I'm grateful that we're learning all this stuff now. Like, yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
No, I've got to know, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just so weird
But
like that.
I want to add one more thing. I think the sadness I have is just this life tiredness in general. So just kind of giving space for that and acknowledging that is important for me. That then I can more easily let go of it, like for the call.
Yeah, and wishing, I guess, that I had more proficiency with this, and like realizing that I don't know how I would have gotten practice except for doing it, you know, like you and I did a few things the other day, but yeah, not having this, knowing how this damn thing works, and having been on calls where I was a participant and it just magically
happens.
Now I've got to do something like, oh, you're...
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. So that was not smooth. And I learned something that I need to, about a minute, when there's about a minute left, to click the thing, close all rooms, and then it gives us a minute. And then Shami and Emily, then in your room, did it say you have 1 minute left?
Yes, it did.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yay.
So we spent kind of half an hour already, and since the call is about 2 hours long, I was thinking my part would be an hour of it, and then Tina, your part would be like an hour. So half an hour at the end for the closing thing. I'm wondering if we can move into, I might not even use the whole hour for mine, but if you're all okay with just opening the call in this way in smaller groups, and we can move into checking out the brainstorming, listing stuff that we would like to do.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who wants to like share something now after this? That's fine too.
I just wasn't clear about the plan. An hour to do what?
Like my part of facilitating the call would be focused on just listing stuff that we're interested in doing in relation to how to deal with conflict more smoothly, with more care, with more love, with more sensitivity, with in a more constructive way. And the different things that might lead to that, whatever that might be, I really encourage people to think openly, to not put any borders for like what's the right answer, but just to put on a piece of electronical paper that I will share with you now in the chat. Hopefully you all have access to it. If you don't, then please write something in the chat if you can find it. Um, so I'd like for you to click on the link and to open the place. And yeah, on the upper hand, I'm really bad with left and right. This is right. On the upper right hand, there's color boxes and a box where you can put your name. So after that, you can write stuff on this shared like piece of paper, and we can all read it at the same time, even though we're in smaller groups. So there's still Shami and Emily, who's missing from the shared paper. Maybe you're clueless of what I'm talking about. Shami, could you speak to me for a moment? If you're there.
This is Emily, and it says on my iPhone that this doesn't work fully on iPhone. So I'm going to get my laptop and see if I can connect that.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So I have opened the document. I have to just enter my name. That's it.
Cool.
There's someone called unnamed that showed up.
Yeah, I guess that's Shami has, yeah.
Oh.
So now there's 4 of us there.
Is it coming? I
Yes.
put my name there.
Yeah, and if you write something on the piece of paper, it will now show up in beige or brown.
And the bottom.
Yeah.
I write on the piece of paper.
Yeah, that's some kind of chat space. Yeah.
Oh, fine. I'll write it on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see it? Wow.
Yes. So we're
Very
only
nice.
so we're only waiting for Emily as well to get her laptop going. See if it can get that. So what I would like to happen is that we get into smaller groups again, but then we can maybe change the people around so we all get to hang out with different people. Since yeah, it's nice when you get in smaller groups, you get to interact with more people. So
I'm
and
wondering,
yeah.
on each of these, the public workspace, should our name be at the top and then the other people are in the lower box? Like, should I be in the blue section at the top only?
I don't understand the question.
So that thing to the right, it has my name, and then I picked this purple color. But on your alls, is it purple? I mean, am I purple and am I in the?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
you have.
Yeah. The only thing is, then Mila, when I wrote what I wrote, it turned what you wrote purple, which I thought was odd. I don't know why.
It turned what you wrote purple. No, I deleted the stuff. Like I wrote.
Oh, there you are now.
And I deleted. So yeah, you didn't do anything with my text. I removed my text.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how it should be then. Good deal. Okay.
So I'm giving Emily a few more minutes, but maybe I wonder if it's possible to go into the smaller groups already and then join Emily to, or maybe put, or maybe I, James, and Shami can go into one group, and then Tina, you can be in a group with Emily when she gets back. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, if she gets the, and if she doesn't get the access to the page working, then maybe you can work out some other way that you can share, but that you can put it as well on the shared page. I hope
there's a screen share option, right?
Screen share. I don't know. Yeah.
Somehow there is.
But Tina, can you put me and Shami and James into a small group, and then for maybe 10 minutes?
Give you 10?
Yeah. Or 8. Say 8. And please, yeah.
So 8 minutes. I'm gonna, oh, you know what? It's got the old, I guess I need to change these, the configuration.
It's got what?
It's got the what we did before. It's got James and Mila together, and it's got Emily and Shami together. So I guess I've got to somehow change that.
Yeah, change it manually probably. There were 2 different options before.
Okay. So add a room. We don't want to do that. Recreate.
Yes. And put us for 7 minutes and break off the call after.
Okay. So I'm going to do 2 rooms. Okay. Assign. And then we'll, in the first room, we'll put you 3. And then, so it's looking like Emily's in a room by herself, but
you will join it.
we'll join her. Okay, so here we go. Open all rooms.
Hi all.
Hello.
Hello.
So
Hmm.
I'm just going to list stuff that I want to do on the page, and you can do the same.
Okay. So,
Sounds good.
so things that can happen in this the future process that we design.
Yeah, or I think not to put any limitations for, like, to be afraid of listing a skill that you don't have, or but just to make a wish list to
or
whoever
not
is
to be
out there.
attached to, not to be having this one idea only. It's like some restorative circle or some this or that, it could be anything that we want to bring in, huh?
Mm. So you can talk at the same time if you want to, and just let the word go free.
And there's no way that you can say that I resonate with something. I can write down underneath, huh?
Or you can put your name in case things change. I can put my name here, like.
And the green one is Mila and James is blue. Okay.
Well, I write your names there then. Yeah, it's very interesting now. I realize that while I'm recording this, we're just sitting and staring.
Great. And I'm also sending a message on my phone at the same time. So, yeah, it can also be a thing. But is this room getting recorded or some other room getting recorded?
Yeah, this room is getting recorded right now. Yeah,
Great.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Tina. We checked at least the possibility of recording at the same time, and that's possible. So I don't know if Tina bothered to press the recording button on her behalf. I would say that it's easier to, rather than like put resonate, or yeah, okay, resonate is okay, but like after somebody writes something, if you're interested in doing it, then put your name after.
Hmm.
Could you say something more, James, what you mean about the the semi-simulated circles role plays of the RC process, experimenting with different ways to set up our own system, the particulars, who is the facilitator, and so on?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about that, and I'm just trying to conceptualize the best way to say it here, because things are flowering simultaneously. So I'm, rather than just me filling in a lot of text, I'm just trying to keep abreast of all of what is appearing. But I do want to say more about it.
Yeah, I'm open to hear whatever ideas you're having, you know. I mean, that can also trigger more ideas for me and or even responses to your ideas. So
Would you like me to write it, or would you like me to
No,
talk about it?
just say it. Just
Yeah,
say
okay.
it.
I mean, so something I've been experimenting with is the integration of the role playing and the semi-simulated circles in text. So like in Hearth, we have a thread where we start the role play as though it's a restorative circle. So there are different characters in this restorative circle, and people kind of come in and add things. And I mean, you know, they add like the pieces of those characters, and it's really like I see it just as an initial way to the breakout's going to end. Yeah, it's an initial way to just get on the same page about the steps of the process, and then to talk about the process for people who are not familiar with it.
I think it's also, if we're going to use this text, it would be a good idea to just write it 2 lines of whatever you are proposing, or I mean, if at all you're proposing anything. So then others can also see it and respond, probably. I mean, just a thought.
I'm just going to add my own stuff with putting names after, because I assume that the person who's written it, like...
Said that it's not... Mila is co-host now.
Yeah. So Emily can't see the chat. I mean, anything in it. You know, it's perhaps because it was started when she was on her phone.
Can't see the chat?
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
If I click on the chat symbol, it opens up the chat, but there's nothing in it.
Like the chat in Zoom, or the shared writing space that we had? The link that I shared?
I'm in Zoom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm not technical whiz. So I don't know if you got into any kind of brainstorming or stuff that you would like to do in relation to
No.
dealing with conflict differently.
No.
Or, yeah.
Didn't get that far.
Okay. So I will just take a moment then to read off what was shared in the group I was in. Or would somebody else, I don't want to hear my own voice, so would somebody else just read what's there?
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
So there's some titles here that are in a different language, and then it starts Restorative Circle, Mila, Shami, and James. It's interesting. I should maybe say the colors of who's. Well, for now, I'm just going to read what's there rather than.
It doesn't matter who put it there.
Okay, so Resonate to have an online training for all those who want to be part of the system, and in the training we designed the system for this, which could be inspired by RC from Dominic, Shami, and Mila. Resonate, semi-simulated circle role plays of the RC process, experimenting with different ways to set up our own system. The particulars, who is a facilitator, question mark James. Mediation can also be a thing on the platter. Mediation by inviting others experiencing conflict into our system. Organize a mediation training with Liv Larson, or using her book for a self-organized study group. System accessible for different NVC Facebook groups, for example, NVC Witness Group, Mila, role plays, James. It could be like a facilitated role play set up in RC practice group where people practice facilitation of RC online. And that's it for now.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to continue with this kind of messy way of moving this call forward. I'm wondering if, yeah, I'd like to see if we could get into smaller groups with the people who are interested in actually doing something concrete in relation to some of this. And a small group we already have here, 5, so we might be interested in the same thing, all 5 of us, who knows. But for instance, when it comes to Restorative Circle, which was written first, who's interested in doing something in relation to that? Maybe we can have like a hands up because I can see all of you. There's me, Tina, James, Shami, and Emily. You can hear me, right? But you're, yeah, okay. Do you know what restorative circles are?
I would appreciate some clarification.
Mm-hmm. And anybody else who feels more comfortable in doing that? Well, my understanding of it is that it's about getting people who are experiencing a conflict or tension of some sort, getting the people around them. Like, it's activating bystanders, basically, recognizing that all of us are affected and having a system where we can support one another and talking things through and seeing if there's a way of resolving it somehow so that it feels okay for everybody. Something happens, it doesn't feel good, and then people get to talk about it in different circles, and hopefully out of that there's some understanding and some practical solution coming out of it that feels better. That's kind of short. I don't know if that was like a completely...
Oh, Shami posted something here. A link to restorativecircles.org. Yeah. Thank you.
And I wanted to add, Dominic Barter, who's the originator of restorative circles in Brazil, sort of calls it walking toward conflict, in that many people just out of, I don't know if it's as being a human being, part of our nervous systems, just
Sorry. All right.
Are naturally or habitually conflict avoiders. And what the restorative circle process does is make painful conflict, I guess the word, accessible to the whole community. So it's really, a community process of recognizing that as opposed to mediation, which is generally two parties with a neutral third party helping them to hear one another with the goal of reaching an agreement, some kind of settlement that works for the two parties. In restorative circles, the recognition is that the community is affected more than just someone who said something or did something, which is kind of, in restorative circles, it's called the act, just to kind of open the circle to the conflict. And then the receiver is the main, I guess in the legal parlance would be called the victim, the person most affected. That this process recognizes that it's a community, the whole community is affected. So, more than two parties are generally involved, with a facilitator who is not held as, or doesn't call him or herself neutral, but actually omnipartial, meaning on everyone's side. So it's a bit different than mediation in that way.
And I just add that one is that the community takes the ownership of the conflict in a way. It's not that just you two guys are fighting, you go on the side and sort it out. So it's never between just two people, and the act is just the starting point. And we try to and all the other part is that I had a chat with Dominic around a month or so ago, and he was saying that don't get stuck up in this idea of like professionals or we have experts as facilitators, and it's designed very simply. It is just in 4 pages, 2 pages like back to back, and the process is very simple. But it's as you practice, you have to like, just as NVC also, like it's OFNR and sounds very simple, but as you go along, but there's a lot of focus on like kind of like kind of expertizing, in that. So there are young kids who are doing it, and I've used it many times, and it really opens up, and not to be attached to the outcome. And they even don't use the word conflict transformation or conflict resolution. They say conflict transformation. Because resolution is an attachment that you're going to bring it back to, okay, now the brothers are again together, and so from a conflict we'll go to another place, and moving away from idea of retribution to restoration, and also not telling the people who are seeing them as a victim that, oh, you should not see yourself as a victim, that's their reality. But as a facilitator, how you see that there is a story, there are many stories and many layers, and just to bring them out and facilitate for the community, and also the facilitator needs to be from the community. It's that's part of the thing, and that's why it's a very, very simple process, so that anybody can learn, and people can also have practice groups. Just as you have an NVC practice group. I've attended restorative circle practice groups for a long time, so you come up and the facilitators learn, and so something like that.
Yeah.
At least now you've heard the name and gotten some kind of explanations of, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's still not very clear to me. I don't have a clear idea of what we're doing next. I only have a clear idea of a time limit. But if we could have, because there's 5 of us, if we could just have like a short circle where each of us says just a few sentences.
What do they want? Or
yeah,
what
we want to do in relation to what has been mentioned. And it's okay to be confused. It's okay not to kind of feel drawn to anything. Yeah, everything is all right. So I can start to give an example. So I might be interested in just focusing on the restorative circle part, but I could see myself as well. I love mediation. I love doing it. I've also actually used Liv Larsson's book, which is to create self-study groups for learning mediation. So I wouldn't mind doing that again. Yeah. And then some kind of maybe mediation or conflict button for the NVC witness group that I've been participating in more. Yeah. Possibly the restorative circle practice group for practicing facilitation might also be something that I'm interested in. That's me right now.
Yeah, I'm can go next. I'm also interested in, I would guess, might call it a study group of the restorative circles, or the potential for using restorative circles in this, calling it the community being online NVC groups on Facebook, for instance. And I've been in semi-simulated, it's really long, it sounds confusing, but semi-simulated restorative circle facilitator practice calls. And what that just is a group of people. We didn't get to using Zoom in the group that I participated in, and it would have really been, I'm thinking, more helpful to be like this. At least you can see each other's faces, see each other speaking, but we would do it on the phone. But it was for a facilitator to practice. And for Emily, a facilitator, I think, as Shami said, is not a professional that comes in from the outside, you know, I'm here to help you all resolve your conflict. It's a community member. And so one of the people on the call would be the initiator. And by that, I mean the person that says, hey, there's a conflict. We need to have, or I want to explore having a circle. And so in that practice, it couldn't be a conflict involving anyone else on the call, just the initiator, the conflict they were involved in. And so it was very much just practice. There would be a pre-circle, and this is part, you probably on that link, you can read about the pre-circle is where a facilitator, someone who's volunteers to act as the facilitator, wants to practice, goes through a process with that initiator. What was done or said that you'd like to bring to a restorative circle, kind of gets the meaning of the act. Well, first you're trying to sort of define the act, and as Shami said, the act is anything. It's not really important what it is. It's something that happened that led to some painful conflict, and that other people in the community could agree, yes, that happened. And so then the pre-circle is done, consent is obtained, that the initiator says, yep, I want to go ahead with the circle. And then people were assigned roles of either the author and receiver of the act, and then community members. We just practiced, and a lot of that call, or that process, was not about getting to the actual restorative circle. There was another circle too, where the facilitator was pre-circle. Are they ready to go forward, and that kind of thing. And feedback was really big in that call. A lot of it was focused on how was that for each person, and a lot of feedback. So Shami might be able to recognize this kind of practice, and it's just helpful in defining the phases of the process.
Yeah,
Tina,
I think you summarized enough. When we go into it, we'll experience it. And just one information, which is
Tina, I just want to check. Because I just want to check briefly now what people are interested in doing. So kind of spitting it out, and then getting.
Yeah, I'm interested in any kind of practice around Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Cool.
all right.
Emily, is there something that's there for you that
Yes, I feel inspired when I listen to you, but I don't have any clear ideas about how or what. Not yet. Might come.
you're welcome to add later? James or Shami?
I'm happy to see that there's so much resonance around this idea of an RC practice group. I think that that's exciting. Yeah, I think there's different ways that it can go, and so I've been taking a seminar with Laura Joy, who sits about when we do some theory and some practice around the restorative circles, and even there, where the group started out with 20 people, it's dwindled a little bit, and so there hasn't been as many opportunities to practice the circles as I would have liked. So and I'm also, I'm supportive of this idea that Shami just brought forward around, rather than putting too much theory on people who are just introduced to the idea, like we do them. We set up a process for having them and then learn them experientially. I think is probably, that's the way I like doing it too. So, but that said, it's also important. Like, I think everything you were saying, everybody was saying, I tried to put it into the chat, but there's a lot. I mean, there are steps and practices for the circles that we need to become familiar with some of the terms and vocabulary, and then it becomes pretty straightforward. But it just takes some time to learn some of the basics.
And for me, I'm quite complete in terms of, from my side to for this call, like what from to contribute, and I'm happy to hear other people. So I would now want like next steps of I'm seeing my schedules ahead, and I won't be available in organizing things because I'm focusing on a lot of things here in our organization. And but I'll be happy when the sessions happen. And so if somebody can, we decide like, okay, we announce that, process, whatever process we agreed. That one option is the restorative struggle process. We start an online practice group, or we say that, if all of us agree that, okay, this is one thing we do, or somebody takes up the mediation thing, okay, we start a mediation practice group. So really building skills in our community to hold conflicts. And then the one part of this thing is that, like, setting up a restorative system, and system is basically an agreement that we have, like, and we offer it to the community. And restorative system doesn't need to be a carbon copy of the restorative cycle process, but we can discuss it. And as Dominic also encourages that, just see what was in your community, what systems were there, bring them in. But on the whole, I like the restorative circle process or restorative mediation. So we can announce I would propose, my proposal would be to announce that we want to set up a restorative system for people who are online. And also in this next one, it should be more commitment of like time, like people are willing to work on the system over time, and not just they can come for one call. So these are some of the ideas that, so once we agree to this, we announce it, and we find who can facilitate it. and we can take roles, amongst us. We can get into that. And just one news I want to share that which might happen. So Dominic said that he is kind of planning to come to India in 2020, February, April, and we would be organizing his workshop in around our hometown. So that's a long time, but that's if anybody wants to visit India that time, it might emerge. Happy to see all of you here. That's it.
So what I heard from you, Shami, was that you're kind of interested in going with any of the thing that was listed on the page, like the going into mediation, study group mediation, going into RC directly, or learning more clearly, specifically the facilitation thing. What I heard overall now from what we said here, it might be that we all kind of start kind of adapting to one another and just go with one idea, but I think it's good to have focus as well. So I like the idea of maybe focus some more specific targeting the, I hate the words that I'm using. I'd like for us to continue with the RC study group idea, because if we do that, maybe a couple of times is enough in order for people to not be complete. Because what I find what I don't like when people are in conflict, when they're then put into a situation, so be it mediation or whatever type of process, when it's not familiar to them, that's stressful. So I already recognize that a few of us here on this call, like there's already tension, there is already a conflict here. So I'm kind of ready to just kind of prepare us by understanding what process, like that we're all on the same page with what process we're entering into and what it will look like, and then after that go into the real thing. Yeah, so that's how I see, like a bit of being efficient, but also, and then overall in general, what's important for me would also be that it's not about that there's a specific group out there that is, or specific people that are available, but that it's a system that can be easily carbon copied, that you can just pass it on and pass it on and pass it on, so that it's not so hard for people to, make it happen. It's like teaching somebody to knit, and then you teach the next person, and then, it just goes on and on, rather than that it's the same, like tired group that gets to deal with every time there's some tension or, yeah. That's me at the moment. So I'm wondering if the rest of you, if there's anybody else who wants to say something before, or if it's okay to go in this direction of talking more concretely of the next steps of what we could do concretely to make,
I'd like to just say one thing, just that I want to second what you said about, like, so there is conflict here, and then it's helpful for us to be on the same page before going into the conflict. At the same time, we don't want to use the learning process as a way to avoid conflict. So I don't know how exactly that would look, but like maybe it's some kind of like agreement around definite time around, like, well, we spend this much time getting on the same page and looking at just like making it practice, where we're not bringing in conflicts that we have here, but we're just learning or talking about the steps that we're going to use. And then at some point we come back and say, okay, do we feel like we're ready to use this thing? Like we have enough, we're on the same page enough to then use it.
Yeah, I like that idea, James. And I'm just in my head, I'm thinking, I've heard Dominic say a number of times, it's preferable, or maybe it makes circles work better. And again, I don't like the words I'm using either, and I'm kind of paraphrasing him, but when there's a restorative system in place, and just wondering to myself, what would system building or establishing a restorative system look like when it's online? Because my sense is it's always been done like in person, in a community with people that impact one another. So we're really in a territory of realizing, though, as you said, we are impacting one another even online. So kind of working with that and how it will look different, I wanted to open it also too. I think, as I heard Mila say, it's not there won't be this usual suspects who are involved. It's really anyone who would like to enter this, the possibility with us. What's different from an in-person system? Oh no, you're just putting what I said.
I was just reflecting your questions.
Yeah, that we realizing it will be different, but having this technology, this Zoom, is at least we'll be in real time and we can see one another. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want you, Emily, to feel like you're kind of shut out from this. So if you have any questions or any comments or anything, you're welcome to interrupt at any moment. But I can understand if that's hard to do. But I welcome it because it makes sense. So yeah, feel free to say something, anything.
Oh, thanks. Well, I have. Yes, I'm. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
It must be overwhelming. I'm just imagining that right
now. A little bit, yeah. So I have something to digest.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, because I guess that you've also, because what we're focusing right now, to be more specific, is online conflict. So people who have conflicts on Facebook and things like that, that there's not really a system in place to turn to, or how to like hold it or deal with it in a way where it just doesn't go on and spreads out. That's yeah. Okay, so if I focus on you, Shami, do you have some idea of what would be a next step for you that makes sense?
I'm still thinking. I'm going to come back in some time.
Yeah. So what makes sense for me, since I do recognize myself as involved in a conflict right now, is to have maybe a couple of calls with people who are interested. A couple of calls, because then there's, time to do it once, and then to have some time in between and reflect and do it again, and then kind of digest and see like, okay, what's working, what's not. So basically going through the whole process of pre-circle, circle, and post-circle. I don't know, like to check out.
Like giving a demonstration of it?
Yeah, like to do a practical demonstration of it, because you can't teach knitting by like, let's skip the first part of how you make the loop. Let's just start knitting, or let's skip the second part of how you keep it all together. Like it doesn't make sense to me to just do like a part of it, but for people to go through the whole process so that it's clear and visible and accessible, so people can look at, this is what it looks like, and then maybe decide. And then maybe use, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just to say the words and to show the process, and it doesn't have to be like a super deep connecting experience. And then maybe use an example of the neighbor, well, if it's an online conflict, then maybe the neighbor's dog bit me or something. Doesn't make any sense, but but to use an example, like just any random example, to role play it with.
Yeah, like as they say, a semi-simulated circle, because there's a partly a reality, and also since we are playing it, it's simulated. So
yeah. But what I've experienced in the semi-simulated ones is that you don't really go through the whole process, and I would like to see like the whole process, like all the circles, the pre-circle, the facilitator circle, the circle in itself, and
of course, they may not go to the whole process in one call. Your preference, I'm hearing, is to take one conflict and go through playing that conflict over a few calls, probably, because each process takes time, because you also share the process, then you reflect, then you see the learning from it, because the idea is more to also people, I hear from your idea, people to have a sense of what it looks like. But so to give them an impression. So for that, probably we need people who are already aware of this process, who are playing this, because you can't like have people call in a circle and then say, no, this is not the process, you're not doing it right. Then so either we start learning the facilitation process. I mean, that's how the practice groups are, where people are learning how to facilitate. But I also see like we can design a process which is like in a one call, they can go through different parts of the process. And that can be happen, and then we start the practice group after people have seen. So that's also possible. I think it's doable.
Yeah.
I just want to say, respond to this part of saying not complete. So the conflict may not be complete, but they will see different processes dealing with the conflict, and they will all be left in between. That's all I just wanted to say.
Yeah, I think in general, it's always easier. I use the knitting example again. Like if you want to, explain like, hey, I can teach you how to knit, and then you show the finished product first. So you kind of show the thing. And if you just say restorative circles and it doesn't mean anything to a person, then you don't really know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I got that point. I got the point that and most of the practice is very practical, very doing it. It's very hands-on. It's hardly there's any, but you have a reflection after every practice, where like what we are reflecting right now, or how was it for the facilitation, what was the challenge, all that learning happens. But what I'm hearing, the first next action from you is that one run through of the process, where they see different steps of it. That's what you're saying, or something else you're trying to say?
Yeah, or now when I'm thinking of it, that it would be nice at least to have, maybe a 5-minute video where people can just watch through, like, oh, this is what a pre-circle thing, explain it. This is what something like that would be nice to be able to share with people. Because
there could be such videos. We can look for them.
Yeah. We have of this middle part now 10 more minutes before it's time for the end part. So how about
James wants to say something.
I just wanted to add something to what you both were just saying, which is so this is something that I've been thinking about for a few months now, and have been talking with Laura Joy about this idea of like how to bring more people into something, and so there's an issue around money, because Laura was charging for her seminar, and so I would love to invite her, but it might cost money, or she might want money. And then the topic of money is, I think, also one that is a juicy one. So I guess I'm curious about engaging with the topic of money, and in inviting someone like Laura to, who has been working with like what I like about Laura is that she's been offering the restorative circle like learning process online, and so it's just something I wanted to tag on to that conversation.
So are you wanting our responses on it, or?
Not necessarily. I just wanted to put it on the table for now. I mean, I'm happy to hear what people think about that, but I imagine the topic of money is you know, it's a big one, so I didn't want to have that become a big
Yes, so
tangent.
I have a clarifying question to you. So are you saying that if whoever is supporting, we need to organize money for the person who's training, who's doing the training, or the person who then does the facilitation? Because I'm just getting clarity on that.
I wanted to put it as an option on the table that we could invite someone like Laura, who has been doing RC trainings for and has been charging for doing that service. That's a possibility for us to expedite, to speed up our own learning.
Yeah.
James, what I'm hearing you say is that you appreciate her style and you feel yourself that you get a lot of learning from her, but you're also aware of that she usually likes to get paid for her work. And I would say myself that I'm totally fine with people getting together in a group like that, but I prefer to just skip the whole money bit completely. Like I'm more into doing self-organized study groups, or you know, okay, there's a piece of text or there's a video and it's still possible to learn something. So I would count myself, yeah, for the sake of like mental ease and emotional ease, and not just getting into the whole it's in overall as well. I would like to be able to, what I dream of would be to have something coming out of these calls that would be accessible for anyone who has access to a computer and who has access to internet, so that money wouldn't be an issue in the end, and that it would kind of reproduce itself. That would be my ultimate dream. Yeah. But I'm not saying no to people arranging paid for a session and then like sharing their knowledge on afterwards. That's okay too. Yeah.
And I also want to respond to what James was saying. One is that we had a conflict here in our community, and somebody requested Laura to facilitate a circle, and she did facilitate a circle. And it's not about the training, it's about circle. I know James is talking about the training, probably. So in that circle, she facilitated for once and maybe twice, and the third one somebody else did, but she was also around. And then she thought that there's not much movement happening, whereas I was seeing a lot of movement happening. And then I had a chat with Dominic. That was my reason to have a call with Dominic. And she said that, okay, and there was no money involved, of course. I mean, so someone from the larger NVC community had called the circle, and they were also experimenting with bringing it to India on online groups. So she was willing to do it. I was willing to experiment with our own community so that people can learn. So what Dominic said, which I also resonated, he said, I said the issue was that Laura could not see that shift was happening. He said she will not be able to see it because she is not part of the community. So the facilitator, at least I'm talking the facilitator part, has to be invested in the community. So if one is that part, that if she's part of these calls, from that part we find somebody who is preferably training from that. And I'm open to one thing, if she's open to take it fully on gift culture. If she says that she's okay that people can genuinely pay as they wish, and then she's offering, I'm open to that part, but not like having fixed fee and things like that. So yeah, so I just want to hear how does it land on James and anything else to say, or maybe others want to contribute.
Things are moving very quickly right now. There's a lot kind of coming up. I want to take some time to digest it for myself. I'm not, yeah. I mean, I'm in support of Mila's sentiment around making it as accessible as possible, and I'm in support, Shami, of what you're saying around navigating how to putting gift culture at the center, making people recognizing that if someone is not part of the community, they won't be able to, like you said, recognize what's happening.
Their needs also,
Yeah. So I think there are some interesting things that this raises, issues that this raises around like us developing our ability to navigate some of these questions. And so, yeah, I want to think about it more.
Yeah, I'd like
I
to.
agree.
I'd like to take the 5 last minutes. I just want to be like sticking on the time. So I want to take the 5 last minutes to see if we could actually set a time for another call that will be focused on restorative circles in some way. Even though I have minimal experience of it, I'm very happy to arrange it in some way. Shami, you probably have more experiences of it, like in person. And I don't know about you, Tina, if you have like in person.
Not as much in person as I would really like, but but wanting to explore too, and just what's possible online.
Yeah. And I understood that, James, you've been more like just practicing, like you haven't really gone through like a real thing.
That's a hard question for me to answer, but I have been kind of dipping my toes in both. So the one piece of feedback I had, because you were expressing that you wanted to do a whole, you wanted to do each step of the process.
Yeah, not necessarily for the next call. So what I'm asking for now is the possibility of looking at a time for another call, to set that now. And also if there would be anyone on this call who would feel drawn to sharing it in some way, like to draw the outline of what the call is for. Because the idea was some kind of studying, preparing people, facilitating, that was mentioned. So having people having an understanding, an overall understanding of how the RC process works and how it's facilitated, that was the idea. So I'm wondering, I am okay with doing it. I can like focus and get my mind in there and do it, but I'm guessing that maybe Shami has more experience than I do. And so I'm checking, Shami, would you be willing to
share about the share about the RC process?
Yeah, and doing some practical thing as well on the call.
Yeah, I can do that, and I've stayed with Laura at her place for 4 months in that community, and went through the practice group regularly, and had some actual circles in that community, and I was the one who called quite a few circles. So so I have some experience, and then and after that, for some few years I've not been doing it, but I've also been in touch with Dominic and understanding it, and so I can do good enough job in that. So yeah, I can offer it, and I can also think of if somebody else I can invite who can also be in the call to support me, if need be. So I'm happy to do that, as long as somebody else can announce it and things like that, and and I can design a practice like a first call experience of what is RC. That's which I heard from Mila, that to give them a taster of it, and then we take a decision with how we want to. Then we announce the training, and then people can select whether they want to come for it. Training in a way, training not for the process, because part of the training is to set up a system. So which we already started, that we are already making a system. We went through the system question that what works and what doesn't work. Now we are getting into the practice actually. No?
So Tina, you had your hand up. Did you have something?
Oh, well, Shami
Briefly.
mentioned someone else willing to collaborate on that. I thought I heard him say, and I would be, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Mm.
We can work it out between me and Tina how that group is going to be facilitated. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very fine with like sharing, doing the event, if that is the practical
That's,
stuff. Okay,
yeah.
so I know Emily probably still feels a bit like, what the hell are people talking about?
Like a spectator, maybe a bit.
Yeah, but I can't hear
You're mute.
can't hear
Yeah.
you.
That's true.
Yeah, cool. I'm still happy you're here. Yeah. So, well, and James, you're okay with this as well? Like setting another time for a call and having Shami and Tina facilitating it? Yes.
A taster session, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you like to have a couple of minutes just looking at a date that would work?
Yeah.
Yeah. 9th of November would work for me. Is that too soon? I'm thinking we've had Friday. I'm thinking the same time could work for me. I know you're not a morning person, Tina, but yeah.
Maybe I could actually go to bed at some, you know, before midnight or 1, and then it could happen.
Maybe I can support you, sing a lullaby or something in the evening.
What could you send some? Well, no, no,
Reminder. No, but we can work something out. Maybe something that can support you to really take care
Where
of
are you?
Interesting. Yeah.
So 9th won't be possible for me.
Emily, maybe we can just have a short round because Emily was
Yeah,
wondering
sure.
where we are. I'm in Helsinki in Finland. It's 4:30 in the afternoon and it's cloudy and no leaves in the trees. Yeah, and damp.
Hey.
Tina, you're?
I'm in Rosenberg, Texas. I'd have to look at my weather app, but it's chilly to me, but it's not. It's probably 60 Fahrenheit. And the sun is going to be shining for once. So yeah, that's right. Near Houston, Texas.
So I think 60 Fahrenheit is like 15 degrees or something Celsius. Or
Thank you for translating.
yeah, which is like, woohoo, that would be great for me. Emily, where are you?
I'm on Gotland. And I'm going to Helsinki in a couple of weeks to be in a training with Shona.
Okay. You're welcome to get in touch, or if you need a place to stay, I have a spare bed in my one-room apartment. So yeah, you're very welcome to get in touch and work that out if you want. Yeah.
Where did you say you are? In Gotland?
Gotland is the big island in the Baltic Sea, if you know, the sea in between Sweden and Finland and Russia. And
I'm not familiar.
It's in Sweden. It's the largest island on the coast of Sweden. It's very Middle Ages and Viking stuff.
Medieval town here, and it's a magical place.
Yeah.
I want to come visit. I have Swedish ancestry. My maiden name is Jansson. It's Jansson. Just saying.
Jansson. Yeah, it's a common name here. Yeah. It's a Swedish island. It's 3 hours by ferry from the Swedish mainland, and I guess it's about the same distance to Estonia, but
Finland.
there are no ferries that way.
But a lot of mainland Swedes don't understand when people speak in Gotland dialect.
But unfortunately, the dialect is disappearing. Yeah.
Okay.
I can speak it though.
Sad. Yeah. James, you're in?
I'm in Syracuse, New York.
Mm-hmm.
With the blanket on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's cold here, and it's just the beginning of cold. It's just going to be colder for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
Shami.
Yeah. So 9th I would be traveling. So
but where are you, Shami?
I'm in Jaipur in India, and it's just getting to get cold, but it's hardly like, cold by standards of James, anything, or you, maybe others. So, yeah. And for the dates, I'll be traveling to US for a holacracy course training, which I'm happy to do.
Where?
And to San Francisco.
Oh, too far from me.
Yeah.
Damn, this big country. It is so big. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet up though sometime.
Yeah.
So
maybe. So 9th would not be work, and 8th is like 7th around is Deepavali, which not that I'm really engaged in, but something. So 6th is going to work for me, or after 24th.
Maybe the 16th. Does that work for folks?
16th it could happen. 16th, 17th. I'll be in US then. 16th or so.
would it
And
be
I'm-
stressful for you though to work that out when
Little
you're
bit
traveling?
stressful, but then I can have a chat with Tina about it, and she can take the lead in it. So I can, and that's also possible, and I can jump in. So I don't have to design. I mean, I can have a design session with her.
Mm.
So I'm not like holding it,
And thinking time-wise, then if you're in San Francisco, that's earlier than
5 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. My preference would be like 25th or so, but that
That's
would
getting
be
into our Thanksgiving though, I think.
okay. So
But
25th,
this
20,
Maybe.
but
Tuesday 6th was mentioned. Is that like an impossible?
that's okay for me. That's doable for me. But as long as we have enough time to share it with people and they can respond and come to it, and that's okay. It's also going to be a little bit of a stretch, but it's okay,
Yeah, you need to write some kind of explanation of what's going to happen.
That's also
before.
there. So,
But
so
you can probably squeeze that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can squeeze it with Tina's support.
Yeah.
So if Tina is taking the lead in it, I'll be kind of supporting her in that sense.
Tina, the 6th?
Yeah, that would work as far as I know. So Shami, you're not traveling on the 6th, are you?
No, I'm not traveling on the 6th, but I'll have to be preparing and winding the closing things here, and I'll be a little bit involved in things.
Yeah.
I'm checking with James in particular, since you're like directly involved in this conflict stuff as well.
Well, I have an appointment. It'll work. So at 10:30 my time, and we're scheduled, I think, if we do the same time, it would be 8 to 10 my time. So that could work.
Okay. Like it's the same time, right? As now.
If it's the same time that we did today. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Emily, or like, I don't know if are you interested in joining another call as well?
I am, and it's possible for me.
Yeah.
So is this like 3 o'clock for you?
3 o'clock for me finish time, so 2 o'clock for you, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed here in my calendar.
2 o'clock? Yes. I always forget which. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6th of November. Cool. And we went overtime. Let's do the finishing part now with a bit more connecting human stuff. Tina, take it over.
So the question I was wanting to close with is, what is the gift that you have received from someone else on this call? Tell them in a specific way. And kind of this ties in with like NBC. I'm taking, Emily, that you're familiar with NBC, probably how you got connected into this call. So what need was met, for instance, for you? And so the instructions are to tell that person a gift that you got from them, and then the receiver is just to receive, and please try not to deflect the gift or say, oh, it was nothing, or everybody can do that, or whatever. And we can just go around. And the purpose is really to focus on gifts and not deficiencies, because so many times in meetings, whether any kind of group get together, we're problem solving. That's like what's wrong and how can we fix it and what's deficient. And this is just to recognize that in this group, we all have gifts. So yeah, just a little bit of an inversion of the usual problem solving, what's wrong thing. I guess that's all. And I could start. Mila, when you offered to, well, as you were facilitating the middle of the call, that was a gift to me about my need for efficiency, keeping track of time and those kind of things. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful to help keep us on track and to move us along. So thank you. Oh, I forgot. And the receiver, what you can do is say, thank you, I like hearing that. Or if you're feeling really brave, you can say, tell me more.
Good.
Maybe I just stick with the thank you. I like hearing that.
Yeah. And this isn't prescriptive. Your own words could be, cool or yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. No, you have to be a robot.
You must say these exact words.
Otherwise, you're not doing it correctly. You're wrong. Yeah. I'm just seeing if I can do a whole row quickly. Tina, I really appreciate you taking on facilitation, doing the parts that are important for you, asking these questions, like how to do meetings differently by asking these questions, putting gratitude in the call, focusing on that. And also that you're taking on new stuff, just bravely, like, hey, diving in there and just doing it. It really supports my, I like it when people share responsibilities and do different things and Skillshare and things like that. So that's really brilliant. Like yeah, I love that. And Emily, I love you for just expressing openly that, okay, not really sure what's going on, even though it's nice listening to other people talking on the call. So I appreciate you expressing that and also being there and joining the next call. And James, I appreciate that you're so eager to kind of stick with, stuff that feels difficult and wanting to move through it somehow, like, wanting to find people to deal with it in some way that works better. I can see that intention in you for sure. And Shami, I really like you for sharing your the knowledge that you have, your eagerness to get engaged and to figure out ways of like, hey, let's get something going. And also appreciate doing stuff with both of you, Tina and Shami, that it's, even though we don't know each other very well, it's still, I really enjoy when there's a sense of efficiency, that it can just kind of, okay, some ideas and then let's get going and that's it. And it feels good. Like it's not like somebody's getting run over and I really enjoy that. That's fun for me. So that's me.
So thank you, Time. So thank you. I really like it.
Me too.
Yeah. Great. So I can go. I was also getting greedy. I didn't want to just hold on to one person, and I wanted to share it for everybody. So I was just thinking how it's gonna be. So yeah. So I can start with James. I mean, I appreciate how he holds the space without any kind of a claim, and the amount of messages that he puts in, and whatever is happening and writing is just taking up that role. And the really self-organizing and seeing wherever the gaps is, he jumps in and somewhere I sense some sense of depth and a great hunger for creating something which is really valuable, some kind of a thing I see, and that's why the commitment that you have then to be in it and to engage and to be with Laura so I appreciate that. And with Mila, I like the care, that you bring in, and also making space for everybody from since beginning, to, and there are many such examples. Like for example, right now considering Emily again and again, and like, making space for her, how she is, and also while doing that, you also hold the space that, okay, this is, when I said something and you said that, okay, I'm just like taking a circle and then we'll come back. And so, yeah, so like holding the effectiveness and care, that balance that you bring in, I really like it. And this, listening and doing, so there's some integration that you bring in, and some humor and lightness also that you bring in. So I enjoy that. And with Tina again, like, sitting without the coffee, or like, meeting all these, managing all these things, and willing to give in so much time. And I mean, I feel so safe to commit to the session, because I totally trust you that you will be able to do it, and you will be doing it, and I would like to be around and support you. And with Emily also, she just landed up, and she has her own long journey with NVC. She shared with me like 20 years. And also like how you brought in your part of the world here and to share it with her. I mean, it was very visual for me. And and the curiosity and openness to still go into it. And so I just see a sense of self-organizing and a harmony together as a group. I really appreciate that. That's it.
Nice.
You.
Yeah, great.
My sound on? Yes.
Yes.
So I can go. I can tell you a little bit how I ended up here, because I was supposed to work where I am now in somebody's house, but there was no water, and I was supposed to clean. And then my iPhone plinged, and and I saw this event, and I thought it was going to be an hour later, and it just came up on my screen. It's going on now, and I just clicked, and I hardly had time to understand what it was about. But I thought, okay, I'm supposed to be here, or I will be here, and I feel I had my first. Thank you both for invitation. I don't know if it was an open event that anyone could sign up, and when we had our I coupled up with Shami, and it really met my need for connection and inspiration, because when you told that you're also in this certification process, I got a sense of support and inspiration to this. I really would like to connect and to be in this supportive and connect together, and so and have a fresh up what it has been a long time since I have been in the NVC community. So the whole call, even if I was a little bit as you said, overwhelmed, since I was not really prepared, I'm grateful for connection with all of you and inspiration. Thank you.
Great, thank you. It was really enjoyable.
Thank you.
I will express some. So, yeah, I feel a lot of genuine appreciation for everyone here. Mila, I appreciate that you get your hands in this project and this work, and really like put a lot of the energy in that's necessary to push it forward and make it happen. And I just know how much resistance, or it takes a lot of energy. These things don't happen easily. These things are not just happening everywhere. I mean, if they are, I don't know about it. So I appreciate your tenacity in making this happen. And you know, like in this, in your commitment to walking towards conflict, I think that it's so valuable in making what we're doing here right now possible. And I also appreciate your you know, like the intensity with which you stay with what is important to you and bring that to the table over and over again, because it helps me like know what you want, and you know, I find that very illuminating. Shami, I, you know, really love you being here. I love having a chance to listen to your insights around RC and, you know, your personal experiences with RC. And yeah, there's, you bring so much like depth and relevant information to what we're doing that it feels like precious and invaluable to have you participating. I find that you catch small things that seem to me to be very important and crucial, and that I would otherwise miss if you hadn't pointed them out. So that's great. It's really great to have you here. Tina, I am excited about, you know, the learning that you're doing. I'm grateful that you're open to it. Like, I got on the call today and you were like cursing for 5 minutes because you're just not figuring out how to do it. And I'm like, yes, Tina, I'm so happy you're like pushing through this, because like because for the calls for Hearth, I'm trying to like get people to learn Zoom, and like they just don't. Just month after month, they're just like, nah, I'm not. It's too much trouble. So, seeing you learn and want to learn is so it warms my heart.
Thank you.
And Emily, it's nice to meet you. I don't know you, or I haven't really talked to you, but for me, you kind of represent the spirit of curiosity for people who may not know anything about what we do here, but have a willingness to show up and listen and hold that curiosity, you know, in the face of what may seem really obscure or complicated. And that to me is like the seed or the essence of being able to do this, is that people are open to it, open to hearing about it and engage with us. So I feel appreciation for your willingness to be here and listen with genuine interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. It's nice to hear that in the connection.
So, I would say that we're at the end of the call, but Tina, it's still your part. Like, do you want some ending words in relation to?
Yeah, and I didn't.
She didn't share also.
I didn't share with everyone. And I say I don't have to. So that's another piece. This is from a small group. Technology, a way to hold meetings, a way to build community. I want to acknowledge Peter Block as the sort of establisher of this process. And there's questions, there's conversations, and this gifts is really, really, really important because, again, as I said, I'm holding this group is not exactly focusing on the negative and problem solving. but so many groups and communities, that's where the focus is. I think in this, we're looking really at possibilities, but yeah, to keep it on the acknowledging the gifts, because a lot of us don't realize, we may think, I'm very tech savvy. Isn't everyone? And really having someone else on a call or in a meeting that isn't, say, I'm so grateful that you knew how to do that. Really, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, I do have this gift. I have something to bring. But for me, so I appreciate everyone, and I'm especially in awe, Emily. It sounds like it was sort of predestined for you. Your phone said bing, you need to be at this meeting, and you weren't sure what you were getting into, yet you stuck with it. So that's what I think it takes to establish what we're going into, the unknown kind of, a restorative system for online conflict. It's new. So I really appreciate, and all of you guys, that I know, and I look forward to getting to know you better, Emily. But yeah, I appreciate all your contributions a lot. Also, I'm a different, like, as James pointed out in the beginning, I was like, because my computer wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. I was cussing at it. Like, I can't do this, I need my coffee. It's too early. Now I'm feeling, just from this interaction, and my voice is different. I'm just feeling more aliveness. And that's a huge gift. But, and Mila, grateful for the planning of the, taking care of the next meeting instead of us having to do it on Doodle or a lot of back and forth. Now we know when we'll meet again. So that's all from me.
So I'm happy to end this call, but I still want to check with you, Tina and Shami, if we should stay on for 5 minutes to just to work out the finer things about the next call. Yes.
That works.
Okay. So I will say thank you to Emily and James, and enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So I will stop recording this now.